really hoping that our European qualifier today, or this today and tomorrow, I should say, this brace of days, we've got to get someone like Razebull, someone who's not at all known for 1v1, just coming out and being a beast in the game mode. I don't know who that's going to be yet, but it'll probably be one of those where a team tries someone, doesn't work, tries someone else, maybe they don't work, try the third player. Oh, this guy's insane. Who knows who it's going to be?
We'll get to all of that when we get to that. Here is Stizzy, player that a lot of people have been making a lot of noise about lately. Starting to at least get his name known around the scene. Only can't get the setup, and Foe's just going to have to try and bide his time over in the midfield. All these teams that we've got playing this week as well, only a couple of days removed from their last RLCS. Some of them, performances they'll be happy with. Others will be happy just to have another tournament to maybe put that previous experience behind them. Foe looking for the corner. VK Sailing should have that on the half volley, and he does. They're lucky to just clip the ceiling though, so kind of takes the sting out of the original clear. And now Oli not able to get there just in time. Both teams just seem to be easing into this, but there's the worry you've got to take against Sodari is they're not too fussed about trying to just sprint back into defense. They might leave a player behind you.
Yeah, they're just an exceptional team at chipping away at their opponents. They just win 50-50s, they beat their opponents to the ball, and eventually after all of these free touches, a goal goes in, though. Sniping the top corner there. I was wondering whether he was going to sneak that one on target or if we would need to see one more touch. But really great shot there with the air roll from Tho. No chance for the keeper.
And the Foe has just been reinventing himself ever since moving away from Guild, who are in this tournament as well. Looking forward to seeing what will happen over there for them. Now off the backboard, Foe does clear. Ocelot might have the infield. Nobody was available on his team. How much do Erigiri really want to start chasing these down? They've at least won the challenge against Foe. Follow up afterwards, though, just far too slow from them. Better spot now, though, Ocelot off the backboard. Not able to get to it. It's far too easy at the moment. Solary playing out. Not even have to play that much for it.
Really good work there, though, by VK Sailing in defense. He had to run away from the bump of Tho and also recover quickly to get a save, which he did. They're going to need a lot more than that. So midfield has been dominated by Solary in the matchup so far. So many clean wins on races to the ball. And even when they're not winning the race to the ball, they're adapting into 50-50s immediately. That's been their strong point so far since they came together as a team this split. They just don't really ever come out in a big loss in any position. Very risk averse. And Aogiri will need to go and force those mistakes if Solary aren't going to make them by themselves. Oli once again. Really great adaptation. Realized he was getting blocked if he went high, so he chips the ball underneath the opponent.
This has been one of the more, at least comfortable 1-0s that we've seen. Although that flick might just cause something to happen now for Aogiri. VK Sailing didn't get anything from that touch, though. And the pinch back from Ocelot. Happy to see it bounce off the backboard, but still, more time wasted. The Aogiri needed to keep a hold of. Stizzy now back in, and Foe does what he does best. Cut rotation, make sure he intercepts the play.
Yeah, bit of an accidental back pass there by Ocelot, but luckily for him, it didn't go on target. It's very rare for an accidental punch to go on target from the exact halfway line. And he probably knew that when he went for the play. Just over a minute left now. Great control shown so far in the 3v3 by Solary. This is exactly what you need to be doing when you're the favorite in one of the matchups. Just don't take any unnecessary risks. This is essentially a best of one for the moment before we switch into the chosen matchup from Aogiri, should they indeed lose this first game, as it looks like they will.
It's important to note as well is it's not a shock if we saw these two teams play against each other to see Aogiri maybe take game one. You typically say after that, all right, Sodari will figure them out after this and might even end like a 3-1, but so far Sodari have come in fully in control of this game as Mike Boy shrugs off the first challenge, and that was so disrespectful.
What patience from Mike Boyd. Manages to get away from Stizzy, which is, I think, the great play to start off this exchange. Would have been easy for him to panic in that situation, get demoed from behind or get bumped and make an early play on the ball, but he just took his time and made Ocelon look really silly in a little 1v1 position. So Ocelon, potentially the 1v1 player for AOG, not looking too hot in that play, although it was a difficult one for him to read. Mike Boyd threatening the flick, of course.
Stizzy from the backboard. If they're going to make a game out of this, they need to score right now. The drop-down pass, and that will seal the deal. It will be AOG's selection up next, 2v2 or 1v1, and whatever's left after that will be played in game number 3. Nice simple 3-0 over here. Johnny, predictions. What's going to be the game mode, and who's going to be playing it?
Really, really interesting decision from AOG coming up. I think they're going to pick 2v2 because they want to get on the board early, and I think it's going to be the Spanish duo of Stizzy and VK Salen who play it. They do play a lot of 2v2 together, and they're very familiar with each other's play styles. I've actually seen them play in a 2 show match recently. They looked incredibly impressive. But I still think even with that synergy coming out from Stizzy and VK Salen, they will be the underdogs as any combination. But probably Tho and Oli, I would say, the Tholi combo, going to come out for 2v2 for Solary. And yeah, that's it confirmed. They have picked 2v2. Stizzy, the one who wrote that in.
Yeah, Ocelon was straight out. Ocelon was out almost within a matter of seconds with the actual 2s being announced. So no real surprise there that we got Salen and Stizzy playing in that one. And I believe we've just seen Oli leave the lobby as well. So it's Fo and Mike Boy. That will, unless we're going to get a last-second change-up over here, which is looking reasonably unlikely. Quick update as well as to the other match that's currently going on. The freeze game between Na'Vi and Semper still ongoing, 2-2, as they enter the final minute. So big matchup over there, and I feel like the freeze game needs to be won by Na'Vi.
Maybe. Although
I'm scared of Exotic, man. Maybe every match I feel like I've been very selective with the matches I've seen of Exotic. I'm just very scared of him. All right.
He's a phenomenal player. I mean, the Semper versus Na'Vi series is another one that's really difficult to call. Luis is probably the best ones player in that lobby, so that's going to give Na'Vi the edge in the 1v1. But it really just depends what kind of 1v1 form Exotic is in, because Exotic's a player for Semper who's had great 1v1 showings in the past, and he might actually be a lot better than we're expecting him to be in that matchup. But when it comes to 2v2 and 3v3, I think Semper have got a clear advantage, so that's a really difficult one to call as well. I mean, every round 1 in EU, difficult to predict.
Is there anyone, because last week we had Daniel that we were sort of saying is the ace in the hole of this entire field. Is there any player that you're looking at that is the same sort of, okay, you might just have 2 games won every series because you've got this player?
I don't think so. Daniel, going in at least to the NA qualifier, was a level above all of the other competition. Even all of the other 1v1 mains and all of the other 1v1 players in the NA qualifier were a level below Daniel. Whereas, you know, I'm picking Luis as the #1 player in 1v1 in this EU bracket, but it's a smaller gap to players like CRR from Guild and players like Exotic from Semper than it was between Daniel and the next best player. It turned out to be Razebull. Oh, what a touch, though! Completely surprising VK Salen and surprising us as well, actually. I didn't think this was going to go through. Usually, you'd go in a straight line with this, but though getting a very good angle change on the end of that air dribble to put it past the low boost VK Salen.
It's probably been the greatest asset that Fo has added over the last few months. He's disguising his plays so well. Last season, maybe one of the more easy to read players that were in the entire league, but to make him that much easier to actually play against. You could see that one. There was always the opportunity, up until the point that the shot was taken, that he might just go for the flip reset. And a defender, you have to respect that. Here we go yet again, goes for the player. And Fo likes to go direct.
Though warming up the 1v1 mechs already, air dribble bump onto Stizzy. And he made that one look extremely easy. Didn't even need to air dribble the ball, just popped it twice. And then had a low flight into the goalkeeper. Stizzy was trying to go underneath him there, so Though stayed low, puts it him and his team up by 2 goals. Though Mike Boy so far looking like the superior duo, even though we were initially surprised that Oli wasn't on the field. That's like we mentioned, SLY, any combination of their three players is going to be difficult to beat in twos.
This is the worst possible start, though. It might get a little better. Stizzy can't control the ball. Goes for the infield pass, but the player's gone. VK realizes it. He's got to back down. He's got a low boost. Mike Boy still loses the challenge in the pull shots. Saw one of these go in, but it's Faux hat-trick hero.
This is genius. Mike Boy had no boost, no momentum, so Tho bumps him into a position to be relevant. That is one of the biggest brain plays I've seen in a while. Though giving some momentum to his teammate, who then runs on, pressures the goalkeeper, and gives a little bit of space for Tho to flick it over the top of him. Huge brains in SLY. Great synergy as well coming out from the Dutch team.
And Faux, maybe the most important player on this squad from SLY to actually be playing well.
Definitely.
You can see that he's in form. That is just, it's compounding issues at the moment. Over for AOG. It keeps getting worse and worse. 3 goals down in their gameplay selection.
Yeah, they picked this and they're losing. So if they are bringing in Ocelon for the 1v1, which is guaranteed to happen in the next game, no matter what the outcome of is of the 2v2 here, then he better be on form, because that would just be match point. Good save there by VK and it's still all SLY in terms of pressure and chances. Ocelon has a chance to come back, to bring them back here. He's, gonna need to step up to the level of his countrymen. He's the only Dutch player on AOG. All 3 are SLY. Harold from the Netherlands. They're just too fast. The synergy's too good, and no doubt that they're going to be one of the best twos teams in this tournament.
And what might be sticking in the back of Ocelon's mind as well is that even if he can win that matchup, it might not matter, because after that they've got to go over to 2s or 3s, both game modes that SLY have looked incredibly comfortable in. As we do now have the end of game 1 over in our B stream, as VK Salen at least has got one back over here, but it was Semper that took it in 4 minutes of overtime for their freeze matchup.
Wow, that's definitely an impressive threes game there from Navi on the B stream to hold Semper that close. Now keep an eye on the kickoffs here. 2v2 a lot more volatile than threes. Stizzy is the player who's first up on the ball here. Decides to just play it standard. They're not going for anything too cheeky, which I am surprised by. They've got some time left to work with here, but it's always nice to just get that one quick goal off the kickoff and make your job a lot easier from then on.
Yeah, 2 goals in a freeze game with about 100 seconds left. You consider that doable. Threes, it's a little bit more of a mountain.
Yeah.
As we now get Mike Boy chasing down VK Salen, just guides him away and takes the pass. Oh, I am loving the off-ball pathing over by SLY.
Mike Boy just chases VK Salen into the corner, though probably shouted at him to say, hey, hit this, it's on target, but he's gonna save it, redirect. And if they can call that kind of thing early enough, then they're just going to easily slot it away. Great comms, great synergy again from Tho and Mike Boy. On a different level here compared to Stizzy and VK Salen, you've got to acknowledge the greatness here, because to make Stizzy and VK Salen look second best by this margin shows you that there are really quite a lot of levels to 2v2. Who knows, with 1v1 coming up next, is this even going to be, are we even going to need to go back to one of these matchups? Those definitely at the level of Ocelon in 1v1. I think it could be a 3-0 sweep here with how well SLY are playing.
Yeah, especially with how well Tho is playing. He's just stepped it up for this tournament, and at least for this series. But the job should be done over here. As for Ocelon, he needs to make sure he's all warmed up now. He's taken the last 5 minutes out. Gonna get one back. All right, Johnny, this has to be, as you so keenly coined it, a cheeky kickoff. If this is basic, this is done.
Yeah, they've got to go for something special here, and they'll be hoping for a diagonal spawn, because that gives you the most options. They are going to get one. I'd like to see Stizzy just driving past the ball and demoing Mike Boy here, but that's not what we're going to see. They might be trying to save that for later. Should this 2v2 be run back, that's the only reason I can think that they wouldn't want to reveal a kickoff strategy like that. Okay, hold on. They've not gone for anything too cheeky on the kickoff, but that is a very aggressive challenge by Stizzy. He had no boost at all, decided to turn around anyway, and why not? you've got no time to work with. You have to challenge. You have to score goals, and that's what they've done.
Yeah, Foe's initial mistake off that backboard just sort of opened the door up and invited him to come in. So maybe a chance here. Still nothing too special from the kickoff. Becomes a question of, is it an unwillingness or just a lack of actual ability or knowledge to do it? Stizzy got a bad angle to work with, though. And 0 boost for VK Stella means that the clear does come through. Stizzy does need to score from this. He's got VK Salen's support. And Mike Boy far too strong on the goal line.
He ran all the way up on the back wall there to dodge the demo and still got goal side in a strong way to block Stizzy's air dribble. Solary up by 2 going into the 1v1. And like you mentioned, the fact that Tho is playing so well could be the catalyst to Solary's success here, because I expect to see him in the 1v1 coming up next, unless Oli's been secretly practicing 1v1 for this event. And I think it's going to be Tho. I've seen him beat Ocelon before in 1v1. I've seen him, be a top 30, maybe top 20 1v1 player in EU at certain times. But yeah, this is definitely one of the interesting matchups, not just because of the ability of the players, but also the mentality of the players. We've seen Tho tilt out of his mind in 1v1s in the past as well. So that's something they're going to need to avoid.
For those of you that do love some 1v1, by the way, the Na'Vi and Semper match is currently going on. That's 1v1 at the moment, and that is 2-2. Also 2 minutes into that game. So, hey, you're going to get a 1v1 overload. Yeah, it's Exotic versus Luis.
Yep. So we thought a little bit of France versus Spain on the B stream. Luis should be winning that. He's had the, I think, the higher peak in 1v1 historically, and also the higher activity recently. But Exotic is very, very solid, and funnily enough, when we did a crew battle tournament in the past, albeit years ago, Exotic was undefeated in the 1v1 element of that, in the qualifier. I think he won 5 straight games in 5 different series to qualify for one of the only other crew battle events that's ever happened in Rocket League history.
So not too many surprises with who's taken to the field for this game. Foe the hot hand over on Solary, takes the shot. Not really going to test Ocelon like that. Ocelon's been the player with the most experience in ones. There's no chance Foe is getting back for that. And Ocelon far too experienced to get caught out by the reverse challenge.
Look at the wheel choice from Ocelon. We might actually see simultaneous victories for these wheels. I expect these are what Luis is using on the B stream as well. The extremely thin wagon wheel here, which, you know, for me, it's a very interesting choice because it makes the car look so light. So maybe you feel a bit faster. Obviously, wheels in Rocket League don't actually make any difference to how fast a car moves or how strong a car is in a challenge. But when you're running with these tiny little wheels, it's a mental thing. It's a placebo. You feel faster, and sometimes that can make you actually play faster, react faster. That's clearly what Ocelon is going for. But they also look like paper, which hasn't caused any problems here. He has crushed the challenge in the paper wheels.
Look, mate, I've watched enough Robot Wars in my entire life to understand that you should never enter the field with anything wooden on it, all right? It never worked. But important here for Ocelon as well is I feel like he not only needs to win this, he needs to win this convincingly. He needs to just offset Foe to make that 2v2 game mode a bit easier for the rest of the squad. Obviously, free's always going to be difficult, but if they can just slow him down, which it looks like Ocelon is doing at the moment, this might have the knock-on effect.
That is genuinely a win condition. Tilt Tho. I mean, Tho knows that they don't need to win another 1v1. They don't even need to win this 1v1. They can win this series on the back of their next matchup choice, which I imagine would be 2v2 given how well it went. Or you know, they could go back to 3v3 just to flex on AOG and show them that there are just levels to this game. But Ocelon has to try and do everything he can to tilt Tho in this matchup, whether it be bumps, whether it be flip resets, mind games, whatever he decides is the most tilting way to beat Tho, he should be trying to do that. But this is a great 50-50 by Tho in this exchange. Always tough to control the challenge when you're air dribbling like this, but he's just got around the back of Ocelon's intended touch and completely denied it at the boost advantage and scores the goal.
Yeah, for Ocelon, there will always be that lingering threat as well that Foe can be very rubber bandy when it comes to his comebacks. A player that is equally as likely to tilt you as he is himself. Just all over him at the moment, and Ocelon having to deal with the 30 boost. Almost got behind him, but Ocelon covers the angle well. Now needs to avoid being demoed. Did exactly that.
Yeah, Salon well aware of Tho's antics here. He knows what Tho's trying to do. Tho, so far in this game, has just tried to brute force his way through Ocelon, trying to outpace him, trying to take 50-50s whenever he can, trying to control the boost as much as possible. But he missed the spot on that one. It was just a bit too early of a drive across the box from Tho. The boost was not there for him to steal, and now he's in a bit of trouble.
Oh, almost found the angle. Instead, Tho gets the block, gets a double tap off the post, and now he's on the counter-attack. Tho reset, secured, and couldn't do anything with it.
He had to give away the possession there because Ocelon is threatening a demo, so it looked like Tho just passed it to him, but really he was just trying to stay alive in the position. Any kind of demo in that range would result in a goal for Ocelon. So has to just take a defensive stand and hope for another possession at some point. Ocelon is always, and always has been, very happy to sit on a low goal lead. But it can be risky.
Okay.
All it takes is one goal, and then you're right back to the most volatile position in all of Rocket League. That is the 1v1 kickoff.
And Tho is clawing his way back into this game. Ocelon seeing it drift away from him here. And suddenly Operation Tilt Tho turns into Operation Don't Lose the Series. Here we go, from the kickoff. Good kickoff by Ocelon. He's got boost, he's got ball, and he's now got plenty of time to work with his Tho, forced to retreat all the way back into his own side of the field. Up to the air. Will he go the entire way? Of course he will. 2-goal lead re-established. And also a quick update for you, Johnny, and for everyone at home. Luis did manage to win the game, so I believe that is now, 1-1. Big result, big performance. It was a single goal, actually 2 goals by the end. That ended up being the difference.
Yeah, Luis doing what it says in the tin, winning the 1v1. He's supposed to do that. He's the top ones player in this tournament, or certainly one of them. And Exotic's inactivity, despite his experience in the matchup, proving to be too big of a deficit to come back from. Now, Ocelon continuing to try and catch Tho off guard. He managed to, on the last play, he had Tho worried about an air dribble bump and then just went for a conventional air dribble. And Tho was defending the wrong thing. Looked like a bit of a lazy challenge, but that's because he was trying to avoid being demoed. That's been a big part of Ocelon's game, just threatening demos and then not actually going for them. Just playing standard. But as long as the threat is there, Tho has to respect it. He has to reposition, and it's made his life quite difficult to survive in this matchup. That's a great save, Tho. And he recover quickly here. Ocelon will beat him to it, play it to a safe location. Just like we mentioned earlier, he is very happy to let the clock win the game for him from these kind of positions.
Yeah, and Tho seems to be playing into that right now as well. He's constantly looking for that one gotcha moment, chasing down the demos, cutting in quite a lot. It's just not allowing him to really build up any sort of consistent positioning against an Ocelon who is incredibly good at just feathering out that boost and doesn't need any real invite to play this back into his own corner. It is up to Tho to force the play, and force the play he will. Can he get the recovery just in time? No, not quite. Ocelon straight back in to take the ball back away. And now over the top. Is that the final play that will secure this for Ocelon? Tho had to go chasing, and Ocelon played that beautifully.
Yeah, he's done his job here. He's kept his team in this, assuming that Tho can't claw back from a couple kickoffs at the end of this game. But I think it's going to be a 2v2 choice now for Solarian. You know, they're going to have the double choice, so they don't have to go back to 1v1 here. The fact that
I don't think they will. I think this has to be 2s and then 3s.
Yeah, they're going to pick 2s and 3s in some order. I could see them going 3s just because there's always the incentive to keep everybody as warm as possible, give everybody as much competitive practice on the day as you can. And if they are extremely confident in their 2v2 to round out the series, then they might just go 3v3 first of all to get the practice into the game mode that would start off the very next series.
My question would then be, is if you are AOG, do you almost kind of want 2s next? Because if you can get the win in that, Tho's then coming in with 2 losses, and that might be the best chance to catch them out. But at the same time, I say all of this, we also remember what those 2s and 3s games look like. And we have got Tho saying 2v2. Stizzy, I don't think that's going to work, Stizzy, but do you want to explain what he's trying to do here?
Yeah, it's quite a funny interaction there in the game chat while the replay or while the highlights are showing Stizzy not quite.
Oh wait, no, we actually just got it wrong.
Yeah, no,
okay.
Stizzy got it wrong. He thought that we were going back to 3v3 no matter what there, but actually the loser of game number 3 gets to choose the matchup for game number 4. The only games that are guaranteed, like set in stone, nobody chooses, are in this format are games 1 and game 3 when you're talking about best of 5s. Game 1 is always going to be 3v3. Game 3 will always be the game mode which has not been played yet in the first 2 games. But going into game 4, it's the loser of the previous match who chooses. The loser of the previous match was SLY, so they get to choose, and they've picked 2v2. But yeah, Stizzy has realized his mistake, and after saying no, it's 3v3 in reply to Tho picking 2s, he says, oh, never mind, my bad. So yeah, quick realization there from Stizzy, and yeah, they're gonna need to play that 2v2 whether they want to or not.
Yes, well, that is what is coming up next. So Tho and Mike Boy taking back to the field. So, hey, wasn't a one-off there with the Tho and Oli combo not being utilized. VK Sale and Stizzy representing AOG, an AOG squad that need 2 more wins to complete the reverse sweep. And this was the worst of the game modes for them in the first go-around. Started to figure out a little bit, though. We're going to give them some credit. The last minute was significantly better, but that's only because the first minute was so tragic.
Yeah, they still look like they were struggling in the matchup, and if they don't go for any switch up in the kickoff strats, I'll be extremely surprised. They might have been saving it for the rematch after starting off so poorly in a 3-0 deficit pretty much immediately. The first time this matchup was played, they probably knew that they're going to need to play 2v2 again. They're going to need to play 3s again, so they might as well save that for later. Well, let's find out. I mean, so far, no goals conceded for AOG. Significant improvement on the first time that these 2 teams played, but the 50-50s are just so consistent. They're so solid. Oh, what a save by Stizzy there. It looked like he almost a guaranteed goal, but he kept that one out from an impossible angle, and demo off the ball from VK Sailing removed the follow-up as well.
One question I have for you here, Johnny, as we do see another demo, that should be the first, and this might wipe away the question I was going to ask you all together. I was going to ask you here, Johnny, since Ocelon had the win in the last round, is there a part of you that maybe second guesses the 2's roster and maybe slots him in?
I don't think so. I like that they're sticking with Stizzy VK Sailing because I know that they've practiced this 2v2 a bunch. And, you know, one game is not, I wouldn't say it's a reason to remove that. You know, if somebody was really just not feeling like they're on their game on any given day, fair enough. But they're probably going to put that previous 2's loss down to just a bad start, being forced to take unnecessary risks from then on, and, you know, just accumulating in a lot of goals for SLY. You can't write off a combo with a big loss in 2s or 1s for that matter. You know, these are game modes that the scorelines can really get out of control if you're pushing yourself for a comeback.
You do see off the bump, Stizzy quite happy not to launch himself into the ball and potentially launch the ball beyond his teammates. 2 minutes in over here, a significantly improved start from AOG. They are up against some pressure, though, from Tho off the challenge, and Mike Boy's follow-up. Good save by Stizzy. Always had the feeling that he knew where it was going. It was just if he could get himself over to there in time. Now Tho to the ceiling. First touch not as high as he would have liked it. Couldn't recover the play afterwards. Back to the wall, and 0 boost. Good steal from Tho on his way back. Just cuts the legs out from under the play. As you previously mentioned, Johnny, how you can't really fully judge the squad from one match. AOG look a lot better and look a lot more comfortable in this 2's game.
And they realized that SLY were just trying to beat them to the ball by reacting extremely quickly to 50s. Speaking of, there it is again. I mean, they're very good at forcing 50-50s to bounce into the middle of the pitch and to go into the center of the box where their teammate is often waiting to quickly follow up. And that was a bit of a risky play here. Brief 2v1, but Tho he's really messed up that first touch. Wanted to start an air dribble and target, but the ball was behind him before he could even get any look at the goalkeeper.
Well, Mike Boy's going to keep going. He missed the boost from his own back corner, and the bump on Tho almost caught him out. He's happy just to land on the floor, though. VK Sailing didn't get the flick. Tho still in his own corner. Stizzy's fake challenge didn't really affect him too much, but now it's Foe's opportunity off the backboard. Here's Mike Boy's chance. It's a difficult shot. Goes for the double. It's completely whiffed it. VK Selen also wastes his chance for a 1v1 against Foe.
That was a big opportunity, and SLY have had plenty. Their first touch has completely fallen apart in this game compared to the second game of the series, which was, of course, 2v2. SLY have not looked anywhere near as consistent. Maybe there was a little bit more to that 1v1 loss than meets the eye. Still, keeps his team only 1 goal in, or 1 goal behind. Mike Boy wants the backboard double, but VK Selen not going to give it to him. I think Mike Boy was missing anyway, so once again, first touch, not looking too good for SLY.
I mean, on that one, I feel like the first touch was better. It's just the angle he came from. There was no way he was going to correct it to be able to actually take it at a shootable angle. And now with 35 seconds left, it's a rare 1-0 as we go to the final few stages of this game. Stizzy looks for the backboard. Mike Boy will clear. But there's no way Foe can get over to it, and that just gives all of the incentive over to VK Selen. Mike Boy charging off the backboard. Is that all the players got? Foe, he scuffed it. Instead, he can claim it in infield, and Mike Boy will finish off the play.
Oh, what a knock-on by Mike Boy. He decided to pass instead of shooting here, and that is such an intelligent decision. Stizzy expecting Mike Boy to shoot first time, blocked the goal side of the ball. Instead, it was a near post pass for Tho. Mike Boy has just saved SLY's game number 4.
And just like that, all the pressure back on AOG, or is it? They get it off the demo. VK Selen reestablishes the lead.
He demoed both SLY players for their first goal. He only needed to demo one for this one. These sneaky behind enemy lines plays from AOG kept them in the lead here. Now it's them who just trying to play as solidly as possible. And they've done so. We're going to get one last attack for SLY in regulation.
That was a pre-jump from VK Selen. Still wasn't good enough to get over to Mike Boy. Foe only got the demo. He got the car. Did not get the ball. Game 5 on the way. And AOG on the verge of a reverse sweep.
Oh my goodness, that was a terrifying last moment there for, for AOG with the demo coming through. But through the smoke, it was VK Selen who had control. And this game really was just controlled start to finish by his demos. We are going to get 3v3 for the ace match.
There's not a surprise there. There's no chance you're sending Foe back out off 2 losses to take on Ocelon for another game. So 3's pretty much the only option that you can really see over for SLY. But hey, I don't know anymore. AOG coming in against a fresh SLY. You don't expect them to win the 3's game. Coming against a SLY that has now got losses to their name and a player that is still playing well. I don't want to just push this narrative that Foe's playing badly, but you've got a player now that is on the 2 losses on the trot against a team that has now all won their previous few matches.
Yeah, they definitely fell off a bit there. AOG stepped up. They were playing, I think, a little bit more prepared for those just lunging challenges that SLY were punishing them in Game 2. Punishing them with in Game 2, I should say. But they need to do a lot more in the 3v3 because now SLY can do that with backup. They're not leaving just 1 man at the back. They're leaving 2 men in the midfield most of the time. So even if you demo one of them, there's going to be a third to come in and save every single counterattack that you make. But they've managed to get themselves back into this. Really great work. It was win-alon, not loss-alon, that kept them in it with that big 1v1 win. And now running back 2s and 3s, these are the choices of SLY since they've lost games 3 and 4. I think smart decisions, but now they've got to prove they are the better team.
Yeah, and I don't think I have any disagreements with at least the game placement of SLY. They've now got this freeze in their back pocket. And Mike Boy, who at least gave them a lifeline back in the last game, that's so good. And it might look like a goal steal, but he's the one that did all the work. I think he deserves it.
Yeah, lovely little angle and the air roll assist. And Oli as well, slowing down the shot to shoot behind the pre-jumping defender. These are the kind of outplays that SLY became used to making in the first match of this series, first game of the series, I should say. I've got to also point out again, these setups for the double taps are not looking on point right now. Every single one of them going a little bit wayward. Same thing with the air dribbles. You know, SLY's First touch still needs a little bit of work here if they're going to easily win this.
But for all of that, if AOG are to take this, they need to find a way of being first after the 50. If that does not happen for them, none of this extra stuff matters because SLY will just score off a basic goal. These double taps, these flip resets are bonuses in a matchup like this. And if you're just winning every single challenge in the midfield, and that 1-goal lead might be all they need as Foe jumps on in. Oh, he's clear. Not great, though. Does need some help. Mike Boy also drifted out from the goal line. Very aggressive defending. Almost got caught for it, but landed just where the ball was going to.
Yeah, Mike Boy with a great reaction there to deny the incoming shot from AOG. So, you know, it's more just shoddy defending SLY in the setup to this. So just a complete whiff on a clear that led to AOG's offensive drive. But with that being said, SLY still look like the better team here. Even though they've dropped off a little bit in quality, their consistency is definitely not at the level it was at the start of the series. And it's not just a Tho thing. You know, we pointed out that maybe one of the win conditions for AOG is tilt the living daylights out of Tho and then hope that will cause SLY to fall off. But it's been just kind of a team effort overall. They've just kind of panicked a little bit and lost that control that they had earlier on.
The big criticism I will have, and it's been kind of consistent actually through all of the 3 game modes that we've seen, is SLY always want the defensive play done. They want it to be won right now, we can get the clear. There's never a thought of, let's settle here and wait for the play to come to us. And it is almost what got them caught out earlier. Mike Boy at least gets the demo, but through the smoke screen comes VK. Now the previously demo player moves forward. Not the best touch from Stizzy. No touch at all from Oli, and that puts his team right back under pressure. Well, for the first time, though, VK gets a little bit of an open spot and can't quite put the play together.
Yeah, both teams really looking a bit messy here.
Oh, yeah, punctuate your point.
Complete missed touches. I mean, it looks like they're driving around with flat tires or something here because complete whiffs and mishits, and whenever you see an air dribble takeoff that leads to a player turning sideways to try and get back to the ball, you know that something went wrong with the setup. You know that the first touch wasn't sent in the intended direction. But
I'm just gonna point out here, Johnny, if everyone does have flat tires, Ocelon should be the best player on the field.
Oh! You were saying?
Yeah, wooden tires. Can't get a puncture on those.
Right, it can't be the flat tire theory. Because Ocelot definitely not the best player of the pitch. He just saved his teammates open net shot.
Oh!
No! Oh no! A horrendous goal on the other end of the field. This is, I'm not even going to exaggerate here, this is probably the worst game I've ever seen from SLY and AOG. Not just as a collective, but individually. It's the worst I've ever seen SLY play, the worst I've ever seen AOG play. I have no idea what's happening here, but clearly the pressure has got to them in this game 5 with everything on the line. Everybody's trying to qualify for the huge LAN this summer, and both teams have looked horrendous while doing it.
I will counter you here with, yes, this might be the worst they've played, but it's also the best game that they've played. At least the most entertaining. Oh, dearie me. Well, still 1 minute left here. AOG, they've got to get something from this. All 3 players crowded around. Oh, dearie me.
Are we being pranked here, Shogun? Is this actually an OCE lobby? What is happening?
I'm not hinting anything here right now, but I will say Exotic and Luis are playing a 1v1 with 2 seconds left, and I've kind of got an eye on that at the moment. Yeah, all right, Semper are going to move through to the next round off 2 win, or actually no, an Exotic win in the second 1v1, so very well played by him to take down Luis. Off the infield, and that's a bit better.
What shot by Stizzy. They're back in the game. VK Sailing with the flick setup just got absolutely nothing, but luckily the 50-50 went middle, well forced by Ocelon there. And Stizzy bangs it into the top corner, no doubts on that play. 22 seconds left, still a chance for AOG to complete the reverse sweep.
It's a good kickoff to work with for Oli, but he was shut down. Ocelon from the corner. He's got the infield. Stizzy can't put it on net. It was under far too much pressure. Not the best clear, though, from Foe. Booming clear. Where's the midfield? Where's anybody? AOG, you've got to get over to the ball. They finally have. They've got it in a slightly workable position. It is all up to get that ball on the floor, and SLY have done it. Wasn't overly convincing, but the result is all that matters.
Yeah, they got the job done, and they have qualified or made it into that qualification round. They need one more win to secure their berth into the LAN, which is what everybody's really shooting for today. Today decides which teams go to the LAN and which teams don't, and the pressure you could see really got to both teams here, as they're both one game away from advancing. But if you lose here, you've got to win 2 straight to make the LAN. So huge, marathon ahead of AOG now, whereas SLY, they've got 2 chances at it.
Absolutely so, and SLY will maybe want to try and put right a few wrongs from that game, but to always hear about something that's right, I want to speak to Cole and to Banks.
Ooh, that is one way to start off the region, Cole. Game 5.